Hey, it is your buddy, Peace and Harmony with you here today. Much love going out to all the beautiful empowered harmonizers. And we're zooming in and focusing in a little bit more in depth on how to communicate and set boundaries with a narcissist or a psychopath. Someone who has a malignant sense of self-importance and a lack of empathy, and you have now found yourself in a situation where you have been exploited, been manipulated, taken advantage of, treated unfairly, scapegoated, sabotaged, brainwashed, gaslighted, any of the situations which have put you in a sense of powerlessness or learned helplessness. Any of the situations where you have been the target of maliciousness, or you have been the target of chronic criticism, or withholding of positive, supportive, and comfortable communication. You are now at a space where you are realizing you have got to change or get out of the situation that you're finding yourself in, the way it has become really a drama story in your life. You're now in a state of depression, repression, suppression, not able to communicate in a way that is assertive, clear, truthful, fact-based, and complete with boundaries. Boundaries meaning assertive yourself in terms of what you will tolerate, put up with, and want to see in the relationship. Now, to assert your boundaries is oftentimes a new learning process. A lot of people who have been targeted as supply, who have been vulnerable to these personality types, who have found themselves in the mix in a wrong percentage of communication energies with these types of people. In other words, you are in a state of learned helplessness, meaning you can't speak up. You can't sort of give your input without getting the flip of the hair, the roll of the eyes, the oh my gosh, oh my geez, you're wrong, you're crazy, who do you think you are? All the sort of, ignoring, not stopping to pay attention to you. So basically you're in a state of lack of presence. You're in a constant barrage, either of insults or just being ignored, being shut out, being stonewalled or being dismissed, just sort of swept over like a broom, like someone's just trying to get you out of the way, as if you're unimportant. Yet people, the problem is that they end up staying in this communication pattern, this relationship pattern, this feel pattern, for way too long. It's because they're not able to identify these personality types and identify the tools, the roles, the things that they can do, say, and decide and commit to for themselves in terms of a boundary standard and how to be assertive in these situations. People oftentimes go through tolerating this for way too long, being a victim for way too long, and settling for less way too long. And this becomes really what is known as self-limiting beliefs, a self-fulfilling prophecy, where you say, this always happens to me, it's never going to get better, this person is la 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 la, and you're finding that you are basically on the short end of the stick, the, small end of the blanket, the short end of the deal, the short, of everything. You're basically feeling squandered out. And so it's very important for you to understand that this is a complete tactic, manipulation tactic, that will allow it to be run rampant from a psychopath or a narcissist. Someone who has a pathological, malignant, unhealthy, entitled sense of self-importance, declared status or control or power, ego in a relationship or a circle of relationships. It can be a place in a family, a place in a job, a place in their community, whatever their profession is. These personality types, will go as far as they can take it. These people will always look for what they can get away with, when they get free, when they should be paying, what they should, be able to give. Instead, they just want to take. These people ride the coattails off of others' work. These people want to get away with easiness, with laziness, not giving hugs, not giving credit where credit is due. They're not giving attention, validation where it's due. They tend to be the people who squander away their attention, so it's only about themselves. These people will break other people down by causing people fear, trepidation, and intimidation so that you're always thinking about them and becoming distracted as to your own life purpose, your own rights, your own values, your own needs. This becomes pushed down, repressed, suppressed, made numb. In other words, you become very unassertive. You sit in the back seat and always feel like you're always going to be the silent man out, the silent woman out, feeling afraid and fearful of their next statement, the next get together, worried if here we go again, I'm going to feel awkward, I'm going to feel out of control, I'm going to feel like I'm just going to pounce on them, or why should I even go on? And so it's to understand that this needs to be remedied. This needs to be called out. This needs to have communication go into this experience. Communication meaning you need to do and say something which communicates that this is not right, this is not good for you, and that you're not going to tolerate this anymore, and that things need to change up. Otherwise, there's just going to be certain consequences, namely, you are not going to participate in the relationship on these terms. And so, to go, oftentimes people, if it's very severe, they need to go no contact. If you're in a relationship with a psychopath, someone who you have exposed, someone who is living a double life, someone who has lied to you, oftentimes these people will be the inflators. These people will be the people who lie outright just for the sake of pulling one over on people. They'll tell you that they're not married and they're married. They'll tell you that you're the only one and you're not the only one. These people oftentimes try to get away with a lot in relationships and do things right under your nose without you knowing it, especially in business and romance. And so if you've exposed this person and you have discovered some very cruel, cold things about them, they could be cheating on you, they could be taking your clients, they could be bad-mouthing you to others, and you have heard this or seen this on text or heard about this through the grapevine, you unequivocally need to assert your boundaries, and that you not only that you know about this, but that you will not tolerate it, and you are done. You're done with it. This is unacceptable. This is intolerable. So, for example, if you are in the moment of this person who's right at the moment doing this to you, in other words, it's one more criticism, it's one more lambasting, it's one more scapegoating, it's one more treating you like you're an imbecile, that you're a third-rate citizen, or you're their employee, or you're an underling, or you are el stupido, or whatever it is that they're doing. You unequivocally need, while they're in the midst of this, just to walk away and to say the words, I am done here, I'm not taking this anymore, and you exit stage left. You need to leave the abuse. You need to tell them unequivocally that this type of communication and behavior and treatment is not welcome. What if you are living with this person? What if you share the rent? You unequivocally need to stay, this is intolerable, I am moving out, or you have got to go. And that is it. You make the statement, you don't need to explain and justify yourself. Enough is enough. History is history. The rest is a mystery. It should be obvious to this person they know what they're doing. The psychopath unequivocally can cover their tracks like the greatest of all Houdinis. They can ruffle the bed to look like they're sleeping there when no one's there. They can change pictures around to make it look like you're the one and only, and they're dating people on the side, two people on the sides. These people can mix up your contacts, mess up your desk, create a tension in the air. Unequivocally, they know what it is, and they think that this is how relationships should be, you know, how they get the long end of the stick. They think that they are very greedy energetically for people's attention, for people's money, for people's eye contact, for, you know, emails. These people are all about the numbers. I have an itch on my nose. Excuse me. So it's very important that you be aware that you unequivocally do not and should not tolerate and put up with this game. Do not feel guilty. Do not feel bad. Do not feel remorse. If anything, you might feel the grief of loss. This might be very sorrowful for you. This might actually be a very sad time for you to say, you know, I need to draw the line here. I need to draw not only a line in the sand, I need to draw a very clear-cut, clean-cut, you know, it has to be done. You know, enough is enough. I have suffered enough, no more. You almost have to hit like a rock bottom oftentimes before you can do this. And oftentimes people will procrastinate because of the pain. They'll feel that they don't have a place, that this is too assertive, it's too strong, it's too much to go no contact. Perhaps we can just work it out. If you're doing that, you are lowering your standards for yourself. You're basically stating, I deserve this maladaptive treatment because I'm a nobody of a person, or I'm a failure or a misery of a human being, or I've done X and Y, Z. And so, you know, I should be ashamed of how I've reacted. So we're going to always kind of be dysfunctional at this level. You know, there is such a thing as forgive and forget. If this person is always dangling sort of, you know, the history, then you're never, ever going to get into liberation. You know, if they're always, you know, holding the past against you, this needs to be worked through and let go. And you need to explain the cause has created this effect. We started this because this has been going on since. You need to get to the cause and basically smoke out and release the cause that's created this effect. This began when? This started when? You know, this whole situation has been transpired because. And that was then, and this is now. You know, and the future is a mystery. You need to regain your future. You need to regain the mystery and allow to let yourself to let go in order to have your cup full. Otherwise, you're always holding on to the past in this maladaptive pattern. You need to do a pattern interrupt. You need to interrupt the feeling, the sort of rememorization of being scared, being smaller than, being, you know, meek, or whatever the feeling is that's now permeating the relationship. And you need to communicate in 5 to 15 words that, you know, this is not, you know, it's very, very ginger, you know, it's very, very sensitive. And so you don't want to do this like, you know, at the dinner table. You don't want to do this at like inopportune times. You need to communicate to the right people, the core people, and let them know where this has gone awry and that this is not tolerable anymore. And you need to be very factual. You need to state exactly what happened. You know, I am done. You know, you are this, either it's a pathological liar, you know, it's a commitment problem. You need to say exactly what it is. This is unfair. This is unjust. This is not inclusive. And you need to speak this in a tone that shows seriousness, commitness, boldness, and not just confidence, but self-acceptance. In other words, this is not about just putting on, you know, a big drama show. This is about speaking what you know to be true and why it is not right, how it cannot go on this way. And, you know, because they're not giving credibility to your feelings. If they don't see where you're coming from, then all you're going to do is perpetuate this anxiety. If you want this to go on, then don't change. You might as well just say it's always going to be this way. If you are uncomfortable and want to get empowered so you can communicate and be assertive, you unequivocally need to communicate the words that you know to be true. And that is your experience. In other words, I am done being lied to. I am done with this unfair treatment. I'm done with the rowdiness and the clamoring that is so distractive and counterproductive to this. You need to communicate this in an off time when it's basically at a time when you can communicate to this person and it can be done very quickly. We're talking in under 1 minute, that you will not tolerate this and that you need to take some time away and you need the format and pattern of your relationship to change, but only you can decide if it's worth saving or salvaging. And if you can understand that some relationships with some people who are very toxic, very difficult, and have real personality issues, pathological self-importance, who are perfectionists, who are beyond neurotic, who are beyond controlling, who are pushy, domineering, the things that they say out of their mouth are hurtful and are meant to shut you down. You can unequivocally say, I don't engage in relationships where I'm shut down. I don't engage in relationships where I'm shut down. This is done. I'm out of here. And until you can let go of that, if they then will come back to you in a week, a month, 2 months, then the relationship, you have leverage. You have, like a lever, over a seesaw, you have some give and take. You have some flex in the relationship. If you do not, you do not. You are not meant to stay in every relationship. You are not meant to stay in every workplace. You are not meant to stay suffering for your life on this earth plane. If you are, you have your priorities incorrect. You do not have your priorities in order. You are ignoring or you are procrastinating. You are doing something that is only perpetuating the anxiety and the suffering. We have a lot of viewers who are very afraid to communicate, particularly because of the family ties or the financial ties. If you are financially tied to a narcissist or a psychopath, you unequivocally need to break free. You need to get your act together. You need to begin earning your own money as well as your own credit. You need to get some training. You need to get some job search skills, and you need to put yourself out there. You need to look around what's in your community, not 3 hours away, not 5 hours away, but within your community, 45 minutes commute, an hour commute at the most, in your area, where it's around the people, environment, and culture where you feel comfortable. If you don't have any job skills, then you need to go and get yourself some training in a local site where they, or a library where they teach these skills. You need to do some searching, and you need to do some searching on Google. You need to go to monster.com. You need to go to careerbuilder.com. You need to go and find these, search words, and you need to search, put in the search bar in your area, in your town, so that you can earn. You can go out there and connect with people who are like-minded, or where the culture, the climate is warm, and you are not feeling, where you have a tough sense of belonging. People have found themselves really in a state of despair, especially when this is continued, when this is factored in. So you need to get yourself together. You need to have an action plan. You need to get out of this sort of dependence relationship. It might, this might take some time. I'm not saying you're going to have a new life by tomorrow. You need to build the foundation. You need to start going there, but you need to be assertive, and you need to get boundaries. You need to communicate. You need to say these things. You need to stop the ignoring. You need to stop turning away from this denial pattern. And you need to understand that it will work. Things will get better. They unequivocally will. When the change begins within, the change will also be manifested without. And if you have difficulty doing this, you need to then go and get a support system. You need to go out and start meeting with people. You need to do things like your regular, checkup with your doctor. Just begin to make some of your basic doctor appointments. Maybe tell them what you're going through, get some support, get some help, see what they have to say. I'm too anxious. I'm too depressed. I can't sleep. I'm too overweight. Can you check my cholesterol, my blood, my blood tests? You need to go and get this done. Go and start taking care of yourself in ways that you've been neglecting. Go and get your teeth done, your hair done, your whatever, change up some things, start getting motivated and having a positive vision for yourself. Put pen to paper, begin to put your resume together, begin to put pen to paper, get your appointment book, start booking some activities for yourself, and begin to show yourself the light. Light a candle, the darkness will dissipate. But you have to do this with the understanding that enough is enough. And until the pain is great enough, you won't change. So if the pain is not great enough, that's why you're going to sit in the idle position. You're going to say that I'm going to, all I deserve is what I have. And, my boundaries are shrunk. My standards are reduced. And so you have to articulate, and I definitely recommend putting, pen to paper and stating, this is my experience. This is valuable. And you need to put value to yourself. And if these people don't reflect your value, you unequivocally need to get away from these individuals. The world is filled with thousands and millions of people and billions of people. There's no reason for you to stay stuck in a relationship where you are not respected and you are not glorified and you are just tolerated. Forget living that guise. Forget living that anchor. Forget living that trauma bond. It has to change. If you don't, your life will never change. If you've never lived, in that, away from your town, you might need to move. If you've never had a job, you might need to get a job. If you've never had friends, you might need to get a friend. If you've never gone it alone, you might need to do some things alone. It's, you need to then get yourself into the flow of the right direction. Oftentimes, it's not what you need to do, it's what you need to stop doing. And if you can begin there, I'm going to stop anger texting. I'm going to stop putting up with this. I'm going to stop eating this junk food. I'm going to stop doing nothing. You need to stop oftentimes doing what is bad for you, identifying what's bad for you, and just stop doing it. And just stop. Just say, these are the 5 things I need to stop doing. And these then, to replace it, these are the 5 things I need to start doing. So if you can get cohesive with yourself, you'll then begin to speak the words and then the actions and then the positive feelings that will become liberated. You might have some tears, you might have some grief, but that is just nothing but you breaking free. It's actually a positive pain that